Morgana's going to be coming on in a couple minutes, and before that, I want to talk to you about the 21-day challenge. And if you are an entrepreneur or a high achiever and you are plateaued, you're feeling stuck, or you just know that there's another gear inside of you in terms of your productivity, in terms of living your potential, living in a life full of fulfillment and possibility, then the 21-day challenge might be the reignition switch that you need to achieve your top goal and build that momentum so you can rocket launch out into your greatest possible self. So the 21-day challenge is you set a single-minded target and focus. For 21 days, you get daily accountability, daily check-ins, weekly deep dive calls to uncover the subconscious limiting beliefs that are stopping you from success. And you'll get clear on your daily routines, morning and nighttime rituals to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. And then you'll get clear on that long-term vision and goal to be your greatest possible self. So if that sounds interesting to you, send me a message. I'd love to talk to you and see if it's a good fit for you. It is not a good fit for everyone. It's very intense, and it's only for people who are committed to being their greatest possible self in a level that they've never even experienced before, succeeding like never before. So if you're interested and committed, send me a message, chris@beyourgps.com, or message me on Facebook. Find me, Chris Burns. I'm pretty sure I'm like at the top of the list at this point. Whenever anyone searches my name, I don't think there's anyone who comes up higher. What can I say? So that's a lot of fun. And if you're interested and committed, send me a message. Would love to talk to you. Let's talk about the iTunes review of the week. It was by Miss Luna Goon. I believe it's a miss. Luna Goon says, value packed, taking you to new levels. Chris is an incredible interviewer. He is super smart, silly, and has a gigantic heart of gold. He genuinely cares for his fans and bends over backwards to deliver high-end value for everyone he meets. This is a must listen. I recommend making time for it every week. Thanks, Chris, for your continued contributions. Thanks so much, Luna Goon. And if you are out there listening and you want to give us feedback, you want to let us know how we're doing, what we can improve on, what we're doing really well, which guests you super love, definitely send us a message and let us know. Give us a review on iTunes. Search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on iTunes, or go to beyourgps.com/iTunes, and you can do that there. Thank you for doing that. Now let's go to the introduction of this powerhouse woman. Before I give her official introduction, she is an incredible human being who I met, I want to say it was like 3 years ago at Internet Profits Live, put on by Steve Olsher. And just ever since I saw her in the beginning, I knew she was this divine being, this magical goddess that is just so radiant and full of love and presence and just a gift to anyone she's around. I know she transforms people's lives, their relationship with money, and she's already helped me start choosing my direction with my money, my relationship with money, and I know my girlfriend as well, just because of how she showed up. I met her again back in April at the New Media Summit, and she's just an awesome human being. So definitely stay tuned, because Miss Morgana Rae is going to rock it. Morgana Rae is a 10-time international #1 best-selling author with over 22 years as a pioneer in personal development. She is widely regarded to the world's leading relationship with money coach. Ask Siri. A guest expert on ABC, NBC, Fox News, Yahoo Finance, The Wall Street Journal, and hundreds more, Morgana's fans call her the money goddess because of the many documented stories of clients manifesting unexpected income of thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars within hours of changing their relationship with money. Morgana guides idealistic entrepreneurs, coaches, authors, and artists to have a big impact in the world and to heal the rift between heart, spirit, and money. And she's going to be on here today to help us become our greatest possible selves. Morgana, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. You are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. I think I saw Devin over there.
Yeah. He was
That's
sneaking
awesome.
in to give me a kiss.
I love it. And just for everyone who knows, Devin and you have been married in how many different places? How many times?
20 times in 15 countries, working on 100 in 100 countries, at which point we will probably start over.
Wow. I love it. Fairy tale come true for many couples. So this is beautiful, Morgana. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Can I just say, I would have settled for so much less.
Devin raised the bar?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So great to have you here. We're going to be having fun. Great discussion. You're always so interesting and dynamic. And let's start off with the theme of the day, which is calling in your creations. So how does this concept of calling in your creations show up for you? How has it made a difference in your life?
Well, it's funny because the money thing and the love thing are kind of the same story for me. And I find that to be true for most human beings. In fact, I've really in recent years come to the conclusion that all money issues are, if you dig deep enough, love issues. And I've been coaching since 1996 when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Back in the early days of coaching. I am one of the dinosaurs. But what I've observed with human beings is that when we are doing everything we're supposed to be doing, everything we were told to be doing things really well, and we're still not getting the results that we so desperately desire or need in money, love, health, whatever, what I have found is that if you dig deep enough, we are actually protecting ourselves from what we want. And it's not an accident. We are not idiots. We always have very, very good reasons to protect ourselves from this thing. However, this protection could ultimately kill us. So if you are, failing at something you're pursuing, not calling in the creation you desire, instead calling in the creation you really, really don't want. First of all, I just want to say you're not a failure. You are very successful at protecting yourself. There are good reasons. And when we uncover what the danger is, then we can change the dynamics. So for me, it didn't matter my grades, my education, my training, my testimonials, my marketing, all of it really, really good. The success stories, the referrals, there was like no advantage that I could create that I could not overcome and repel. It didn't matter how many success stories, how many referrals, how well I marketed, how well I sold. None of that. It didn't matter that I had a millionaire mindset. I had the most beautiful vision boards. I had a tagline, a website. I had all of it. I'm a good student, and it didn't matter. I was living in LA, and at the end of 2002, beginning of 2003, I was down to struggling to make $100 a month. Wow. And this is a city where studio apartments are going for $2,000.
Yep.
So that, and I'm like, I've got some pride around that. That's like really impressive. And I'm deeply, deeply hoping to out loser anybody who is calling himself or herself a loser right now. I hope I have you beat. And what happened for me was I took every class out there and failed. Is this going to make it look like an L this way?
Other way.
Just with and it was heartbreaking. And I felt like such a loser. I felt so hated by the universe. And nothing changed because all these affirmations, all the mindset, all of the positive, productive activities that I was taking, they were all like a Band-Aid on the real problem. And that changed during a really dark night of the soul where I was just out of hope, out of just out of wanting to even be alive. It was that bad. And it's hysterical. I don't have money for rent, but I still had a coach. Thank God, because it saved my life. Wow. Because this brilliant coach who had been working with me, doing his best for months and months and months, and I would take his best suggestions, do them, and get nowhere. No fault of his. But right after I was in this really dark place, I'm saying after, I wasn't out. I was still in it. I had my coaching call with him, and he asked me the weirdest, inspired, out of left field question. He just said, if your money was a person, who would your money be? he had just completed this amazing relationship coach training that I like dove into immediately after that because of my results with that one question. And in that moment that he asked me that, I saw this person, this big, scary, dirty, violent biker dude who terrified me. And up until that moment, I never had a clue that I had any feelings like that about money. I thought money is just something you want so you can buy things. I didn't know that it was scary or dirty or violent. But as soon as it had form, as soon as he had personhood, flesh, like I could see what he looked like, how he was dressed, the whole thing. He was real, and I could feel how my body reacted. Wow. Suddenly, it all made sense. I could see myself, I imagined myself at this live event and keeping my eyes on him all the time to create maximum distance between the two of us. And that was my big aha moment, that while I was sending out emails and making phone calls and printing brochures and business cards and going to networking meetings and everything you can imagine, I was doing all that as if I wanted to get close to him. But deep down, like on the DNA level, there was no way. And suddenly things made sense. Like people who would call to hire me that I somehow magically talked out of hiring me, you know? I was really good at that at one time. And the strangest thing happened when I got really clear on that relationship. It was really clear to me that there was no way that I could have money in my life if it was that dude. Like my unconscious would work overtime to create that space. So he had to go. I could not have money in my life if it was him. He had to go. But then when he was gone, I had a new problem. It was like, yay, oh heck. I used stronger language. I had just gotten rid of my only relationship with money, and I lived in Los Angeles. Can you see where that could be a problem? So, and by the way, this is the funny thing about every solution has the seed to your next challenge. Welcome to life. So I thought, well, who could I have in my life, even though it's money? And if you've ever been in a really bad, scary, abusive relationship that beat you down and made you feel worthless and powerless, you know you're not in a rush to get into that again. So I was like really scared to get into another relationship with money that made me feel so small and so worthless. And by the way, that's a clue to where our relationship with money comes from. It's all about lovability, our worth, you know, just what anything is worth, and security. You know, in the United States, our very right to exist. Only the rich get medical care. I mean, it's just talk about a monster. So I got rid of my personal monster, the first one, and I needed a new relationship. So I'll go back to the question, who could I want in my life so much that I'd be willing to have this person in my life, even if it was money? So it had to be a great person. And this doesn't work if it's like a cash person, because then you're back into a monster. Then you're like, how much can I have? Do I have enough? How much can I get? And you are in fair and scarcity city. That's just another monster. So instead, it's like this, who would be so wonderful and juicy and fill my, you know, my heart would feel so full of like, yeah. And, you know, not surprisingly, a cute guy showed up in my mind's eye. And I will say, for those of you who are in happy relationships, because I get this question all the time, and I love this question. It's like, but I'm happily married, and this new person is really sexy, and I feel like I'm cheating. You cannot cheat on your human honey with your imaginary friend. Can't happen. But if you're turned on, your life partner can reap the benefits, FYI. So, because I had a boyfriend at the time I was going through that process. It's really not a conflict. Human beings love to come up with conflicts. That's what, you know, keeps me employed. So Cute guy. But here's what's really important. And I didn't understand this right away. I started to really break it down into all the elements as I started coaching more and more and more people. And I would figure out, why didn't that work? But this worked. And I spent the first year, I wasn't marketing this. I was just getting a lot of clients and trying it out. So I'm like giving you 15 years of field study in like a few minutes. Here's what's so important about this person. Yeah, he was cute. This guy showed up in my mind's eye, tall, dark, handsome, romantic, carrying a bouquet of red flowers, all dressed up in a tuxedo, safe. But here's what was really weird. Like, yeah, even more weird than this. He loved me. I was like, whoa, the feeling of his just pure hearted love for me and his desire to simply be in my presence and be with me and go through life with me was so palpable and not something I'd ever thought about with money. And he actually wanted to woo me, which was really weird because, you know, who thinks that way? And I also, at the same time as all this, got this huge sense of my own power and responsibility in this relationship, which is one of the reasons why I have found that this kind of lover, romantic, amorous feeling relationship works so much better than anything else because lovers are equal. And I have the power to cut my money honey off at the knees. I have the power to break his heart. And I have many times. When he's not there, I'm the one who pushed him away. He doesn't leave, but boy, can I push him away easily by feeling unsafe in the world, feeling judgy about money. And hey, there's plenty to feel judgy about. Let's be real here. By becoming complacent and more than anything, by being bad to myself.
Yeah.
It's like, think of what it feels like when you love somebody and you see them abusing themselves and how difficult that is to be with. So over the years, just with my own relationship with money and all the mistakes that I've made and all the things that I learned, because, you know, honestly, my money situation is really, really good. And my financial situation is really, really good. I had a client who made a distinction between her relationship with money as the person and her relationship and the cash that follows. But we always want to put the relationship first. So what's happening now is we're making money. We're pretending it's money. We're making money not only safe, but this person who is your ally and your partner and shares your values. And suddenly there's no inner conflict. Because when you have money on one side and love on the other, playing on opposite teams, everybody's going to lose. But if you can put them both on the same team, then there's nothing that stops you because you become your best self, your most courageous self, your most generous self, because you're seeing yourself through the eyes of the beloved. And that's only step 4, meeting your money honey. Step number 5, because I had that sense of, wow, I have been abusing this sweet guy and breaking his heart for decades. I've been a jerk and I don't want to do that to him anymore. So I asked him, what do you need from me so you can stay with me? With the really clear understanding that that's all he wants. But I have the power. And the fun thing about making money a person, like a person worthy of having a relationship with, is you can have conversations. There's something you don't know, ask. So I asked that question and you get an answer. And at that time, that very first conversation, he said, I need you to love me, which is just sweet. Like, I just need you to love me. And I need you to stop treating me like a monster. And I'm going to pause and now get on my love is not the root of all evil soapbox.
Yeah.
So there's this thing going round, this misinterpretation of the Bible that says the love of money is the root of all evil. And that's not what it actually said. In ancient Aramaic, it said that obsession with money can cause you trouble. And I'm here to say, yeah, especially when it's in the context of not feeding your slaves. And hey, let's just not have slaves, period. But love is love. Like, love cannot be evil. Love is not exploitative. Love is not rape. Love is not exploitation. Love is not harm to others. Love is not greed. Love is not fear. Love is service. Love is kindness. Love is just, it's this overflowing rightness with life and nobility and generosity. And there's even a selflessness to it, not a self-sacrifice, but just a like, thy will be done. That's, just, it is your best self. It is who you are when all the bullshit is stripped off. All there is love. When you destroy the money monster and everything that has ever made you feel not good enough, not lovable, not worthy, not safe, or like the world is not your place, any of that stuff, when all that is gone, and that's what we put into the money monster, and that's what we destroy. When all that's gone, all that's left is love. And that brings out your best. So that's my that's my soapbox for the moment. That was step number 5, is having this conversation with my money honey. And step number 6 is action. So here I'd been a bit of a douche for decades, where people wanted to hire me, and they'd say the most terrifying words known to me at the time was, so how do you work? Which eventually I realized was code for how much do you charge? And that was when I would get all weird, and I would I'd have all the scripts. I would just dance around numbers to avoid them. And I don't know what people were thinking on the other side, but it was, my discomfort must have been palpable on their end. And it was like I was ashamed to be charging because I'm spiritual. And apparently, if you follow that logic far enough, then only like drug dealers and human traffickers and polluters and warmongers should get paid. If like all the good people are supposed to, not get paid, right? That works. So to not treat him like a monster meant that next time he brought me a gift, which typically looked like a client, instead of getting that whole, must hide the monster kind of thing about the price, I would just go, this is my fee, with like the energy of, and isn't he beautiful? And to learn how to simply allow people the choice to invest in themselves as if it is my gift of love. Wow. And nobody has to say yes, but I find that my people don't need to be sold to, and don't need to be tricked, and don't need scripts. They decided before they got on the phone, and we're just figuring out if what they want is what I'm good at, and what's the best path to proceed. And the more I just made that determination to not break his heart and be nice, the better it flows. And I got my first test the day after. 4 people wanted to hire me. And I'm such a spaz because I'd spent all these years programming my neurology to talk people out of hiring me. Like, I don't know, I had clients, but I was so good at repelling the money. I would love to hide behind sample sessions, and then people would go off and like get TV series or make a lot of money from the 20-minute sample session. So I had this opportunity to say my fee and then do the hardest thing humanly possible for me, which was to shut up. And by the way, for anyone who is like, starting out in this, when the other person gets quiet, that means they're figuring out how to make it work. That's a good sign. So shut up. Let them work it out. If they say no, no problem. But just, I just had to, honestly, on the phone, I just had to like sit on my hands, bite my tongue. It was so uncomfortable the first time. Like everything in me wanted to like, do you want a sample session? Just wanted to like wiggle around. And they said, yes. And 4 people that day hired me at double what I'd ever charged before in my life.
Wow.
And each time got a little fast, a little better. And people just kept coming. And they kept coming and my prices just got higher. And then I started to burn out because I was getting so much demand and I was still resisting raising it as high as it, for a while. I was still holding back on the price. And so I started groups and I started waiting lists and then would do the process again. And it would just like catapult me to the next level. And I want to say that, we may have a lot of personal judgment about ourselves for having these obstacles and these monsters. Oh, what's wrong with me? This is me beating myself up as if I have like, can you see my invisible clubs?
I see them.
But here's the thing is like anytime a monster comes up, anytime something gets stuck in your life, whether it's love or it's money or it's health or whatever it is, that thing that in your soul, this is your path. It's an initiation. The monster must be killed, but the monster is an initiation. It's like the monster is the twin brother to the honey. They're equally essential. It is all working for you. And you must destroy the monster because the monster is everything in you that wants to give up, wants to die. So only one of you gets to stay. And that's why the monster is not you. It's like totally outside of you. So like monster goes, but Chris remains. Monster's not your parents, even though there are truly monstrous parents in the world. They gave you life. And I'm not believing anybody out there should be committing patricide or matricide. So let's let you off the hook on that. And the monster is bigger than your parents and used your parents to get to you. And this is your imagination. So however big it is, you can destroy it. Like I've worked with thousands of people and some really big, tough to destroy monsters. I had one client this year who we had to just go through 10 iterations, deeper and deeper and deeper in one session, one like 6-hour session behind the next monster before it was finally gone.
How did you know it was finally gone?
2 ways. I can tell. Like I can just feel it.
Yeah.
I can hear what a client is going to say half the time before he or she says it. But I can, somebody says it's gone and if I'm not sold, I'll go, really? It's not my job to second guess the client. Like if the client says, oh yeah, okay, yeah, all right. But I can usually tell, which is why I'll check. I'm okay to be told that I'm wrong. I'm not attached. I'm just like, I'm here to serve. Right. But that's one of the ways is I can usually tell, like I'm not sold. And my client will know because the absence of the monster is dramatic. It feels different than you've ever felt before. And that's one of the things I'm listening for. For some people, it's going to be great. It's going to be spacious. It's light. I've had clients on the other side of the planet tell me that the sun just came out. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. But for a good chunk of clients, it's terrifying. Because this is all they know. And a death is going on, a death of identity. There may be a lot of loyalty to family members or loved ones tied up in that monster that you're letting go of. So that's, by the way, it's feeling scary. that's good too. And that's why we don't leave a vacuum either way. We don't leave this emptiness, because that's one of the things that everybody notices, like, whoa, there's this empty place that used to be occupied by this horrible lifetime companion of self-loathing and misery. And even getting rid of something you don't like involves a death and grieving process. Yeah. But when we replace it with something better, and this is a huge life philosophy of mine, is we never take away anything without replacing it with something much better. And we don't wait. There's no such thing as, oh, will you look at the time, ending the session before the client has the money honey.
Right.
However long it takes, I will outlast any money monster. That is my promise. And so because there's that space, that's where the money honey piece comes in. And that's this new relationship. And what's so much fun about it is that when you see yourself through the eyes of this person, and it doesn't feel like money, it feels like love. Not only does it have some really dramatic financial effects, and by the way, I need to correct my bio, because my record, like so far, is a client who made $1.2 million a few hours after our 20-minute session.
Damn.
Yeah. That's what's my money goddess curriculum, really, that multiplied the magnitude of the results. So anyway, so different way we show up in business, different receptivity to money. Weird things happen that I cannot predict or explain, but it's fun. And then also love relationships shift. That's honestly, the soft-hearted kid who, was addicted to Disney princess movies growing up. That's like my favorite thing. So marriages that were like about to break up, fall back in love for decades, because I've been doing this long enough that I can say that. And people who were single, they have a new blueprint for life and love.
Yeah.
And in fact, I wouldn't be with my husband probably if I didn't have this money honey saying, you just have to hold out for someone who loves me as much as I do. And now it's funny because there's so much alike that, like, my husband will say something like, especially the first time we got married, he had really weird vows in mind. He told them to what he wanted us to do over Skype when he was in South Africa and I was in Bali. I had just finished one of my retreats, and he said that, and come up with what you want for the other person. And I heard what you want from the other person. So I had just completed my laundry list of what I wanted from him. And then he launched into his laundry list of what he wanted for me. And I felt like such a cad. But he was saying things, I want you to love yourself. I want you to value yourself. I want you to stop thinking that people are friends who just want your mailing list. And when he's saying that, it's like I could see my money honey in my mind's eye behind his shoulder, just laughing his head off because, it's like, see, I told you so. They're on the same team, ganging up on me sometimes with love. And there's a certain pattern that I see. And it's so annoying when, like, you created the system, so you think you should be perfect. And then you, meaning me, is like, so years later, I'm like on these TV and radio interviews all the time, and I'm saying things like, when you're doing everything right and you aren't getting results, and I'm going, oh my God, I've done every Alison Armstrong workshop, and I've done every, I can't even listen to relationship coaches anymore because I'm doing everything they say you're supposed to be doing. And it was like, oh no, this sounds just like my shtick. And so in 2012, I slayed my love monster, which was bigger and scarier than any money monster I've ever had. And I could see all the ways that love in my life had tried to kill me by setting me up and breaking my heart.
Wow.
With parents, family members, friends since I was a child, all those boyfriends, all those online dates. Boy. And it was just, oh my God, love had been the biggest source of soul crushing pain and despair in my life. I was like those dolls that you punch down and they pop back up. That was like this love monster. Or me is popping back up to be punched down again. And it was the biggest and the hardest to kill. And then it created a new problem, which was the love honey is a little trickier than the money honey, because the love honey isn't the person itself. And I didn't want to confuse the two. So I just replaced my love monster with a new honey.
Right. So same way with money, you created that money honey, and then the love honey, you created the same thing.
And by the way, I do that all the time with clients. I usually do money monsters, but I've done success monsters. I do love monsters a lot, especially in Bali. And God monsters from time to time. It's all the same thing. It's our relationship with life. Pick your poison. And, where I'm just listening for where is the pain most acute, because that will unlock everything. It's the key to the kingdom. And I met my husband 2 months later.
That's awesome. I love this because, when you take on that courageous thing, when you tackle a thing that fears you most, like you did that. I did a courageous thing out in Santa Monica where I was afraid to ask a girl to kiss me, and I recorded it on Facebook Live, and I went around recording it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a girl to kiss me, and then 2 months later, I meet my amazing love of my life, and yeah, it's just like when you show up and you're courageous, like the universe rewards us.
Yeah, I adore your girlfriend. And now it's like, it's all worth it. Devin was worth the wait. And I never thought that would be possible. I met him when I was 45. Oh, hey, ladies who have, heard all the nonsense about, how your options and your marketability and your chances for love go away when you get older. Bullshit. I'm not allowed I don't know if I'm allowed to curse. I didn't ask ahead of time. I've been so careful because I love to swear. But oh my God, dating in midlife is so much better because you're dating grown-ups. If you choose, if you want to play with the 20-year-old, believe me, they're lining up. But if you're dating a guy and he hasn't worked out his issues, you know what you've got. You don't have to gamble anymore on who he's going to be when he grows up. He's cooked. And he's had his heart broken and you've had your heart broken, and hopefully you've learned something and grown up and you know what's important. And if he doesn't, then you can tell on the first date and move on. And if you haven't, then work on yourself. But it's just so much better.
Yeah.
And
I want to check into the clarity of a big part of your process is getting clarity, writing it down, talking it out, like understanding who or what that money monster or money honey is. So can you take us back? You said the steps, but really what's the process to get that clarity, just so anyone can, get it written down and say, okay, as long as I do these steps, I'm setting myself out on the right path.
No, thank you. Thank you because that's really important. The first step, it's like every step is a foundation. You can't skip any or it just won't work. And when somebody has trouble connecting to their money honey, the first place I look is, did you go deep enough for the money monster? So the first surprising thing is you will never actually find the money monster in your money story. Your money pain is not where you're going to find the money monster. Even it helps, by the way, this sounds so perverse. It helps that there's a lot of money pain, just because that brings up the stuff that's underneath about safety, worthiness, how you feel about yourself, how others feel about you, how you feel about life and your place in it. It brings up stuff. So the person watching who's in the most fear, or listening, who's in the most fear and anxiety, you have a huge advantage. I think I mentioned earlier, like my record to date, that's not the biggest amount. But yeah, she made $1.2 million a few hours after our one-on-one conversation. She'd bought my Money Goddess Experience Home Study course, did it herself, and made, I think I've got the numbers right. I believe she made $10,000 that day out of the blue that she didn't expect.
Wow.
And then she did it again a week later, thought of a new thing that could open up a money monster, and received $20,000. And then on the third week, we had a live quick start 15-minute call that I'd bonused with at the live event that she saw me at. And that's when the big money came in. What I didn't tell you is when I met her, she saw me speak at a live event, and she came up to me after I was done speaking in a quiet moment when no one was around, and confided to me that she was suicidal. She was in that level of pain. And I've been there. I know what it's like. And I said to her what I would want someone to say to me, because I take it very seriously. And I told her that it will get better. And her job is, and I told her I was there too, and her job right now is just to stay alive long enough for it to release. I didn't try to sell her anything, but I really cared. And then she bought my thing, and I had that call with her, and I was like thrilled to hear what was going on. And then she actually went to my Bali retreat too. But the reason I say that is because when you're already in that pain, your access to the money monster is so much easier to get to. It's less digging. Like, the hardest person to coach is someone who's content. And by the way, I want everybody to be happy and content. Honestly, if everybody can get what they need from my book on Amazon, that's even better, because then I can just, make passive income, go around getting married, and not have to do any heavy lifting. I'm just here when somebody needs help going farther than they can go themselves, because I can make it safe to go farther. So the biggest thing, there was a question there. I'm gonna get to it right now. Step number 1, uncovering the root cause behind the money monster. So yeah, start with the money pain. That's a good place to start. Anything negative that you've seen or heard or personally experienced around money is a great door opener. And when you can get off of money specifically and to the things that money represents, because money is just made up. It's invented. It's imaginary.
Right.
But what money represents is what makes it such a hot, taboo area of life pain. And what it represents is love, worth, and safety.
Wow.
Your experiences with your parents were your first experience of money. And maybe you had a good experience and maybe you didn't. But your parents told you what you were worth. They kept you safe. They fed you. They housed you. All the stuff money does later on. So anything that happened then laid a foundation, like the microcosm for all your other relationships in life, whether it's romantic or your relationship with your life purpose or your body, and definitely with money. So, maybe kids rejected you at school. I had that. Accidents, eating disorders, just wherever the pain is. And that's where, when I'm coaching, it doesn't matter to me what it is. It doesn't even matter to me whether it's factually true. I wasn't there. I'm not here to verify it. Doesn't matter.
It's a story that's real to everyone who's telling it.
Yeah. If it's emotionally true, it's going to work. And it can be weird stuff that you didn't expect. Or what I mean by weird is like, it may be something that doesn't look really dramatic. I had a client who just had the experience I've had a few clients who had the experience over and over and over again of being second best. I had one client whose mom walked in when he was a kid, like 3 or 4 years old, playing doctor with a friend. And that was the moment that shaped his sense of self-worth, both with the opposite sex and with money. And this is another big number. We found the pain around that, the judgment, the fear, the shame around that. Shame is a great place to look. Was big enough that we could create a money monster around that. Like I could help it's a huge leap of creative imagination to take the pain and then say, now imagine there's a person who is responsible for all this horrible stuff you're feeling. And his or her only intention in life is to harm you. And I can guide the person through how big is this? I like to start with kinesthetic, with feeling. If we start with vision, then we're way too much in our conscious mind, too much in control, and it can shut down the creativity. Some people, it comes instantly, great. But if it isn't like boom right there, which is most of the time, I might go with, what is the size? How big? Hot or cold? What is the smell? Because that's so emotional. The eyes, the breath. What is this person thinking when he looks at you? It's usually a he, but not always. Then maybe hair or clothes or something, but I'm very, very patient to flesh it out so that it's real. We're in no hurry. So this guy who had that completely innocent experience, and I did the same thing when I was a kid, but there was that moment, we don't know what the parent thought or said. We don't know, but that was his triggering event that created the money monster that haunted him for decades and decades afterwards. Well, he got rid of the monster, replaced it with his money honey, and made $1.6 million 6 weeks later. So that was a long time ago. That was like about 10 or 11 years ago. Wow. By the way, I know I'm throwing around big numbers because they're really fun. That's not the goal. That's like frosting. Right. I'm just saying it
What's
because
possible.
It's possible, but celebrate whatever shows up.
Yeah.
So because it's not about the numbers. Because that brings you back to the monster. What have you done for me lately? And feeling like a helpless victim, which, and then we need to slay a new monster. Start where you are. And by the way, I didn't get instant millions. I got what was exciting for me and what would grow me at a safe pace. And I'm a big fan of safe. I think change happens at the speed of safety. That's like one of my life mottos. So the less scared you feel about the money, the more easily it flows in.
Beautiful. So I love all that. That was perfect. And getting back to the steps, what are the specific steps we need to get clear on?
Okay. First one, uncover the root cause. And the root cause will always, always, always be in the life areas of love, worth, and safety. Is this anything that has ever made you feel unsafe, ashamed, worthless, unloved, betrayed? that's going to be really useful. And it would be such a waste to have gone through that and not milk it for everything you can get. That's why I call this alchemy, financial alchemy. Alchemy is the art of transmutation, transmuting leaden human experience into spiritual and material gold.
Yes.
That's step number one. Step number two, and this is the sticky one, is now that you have, uncovered this like critical mass of ick. Extra points if you're crying, not necessary, but extra credit. Then you, through creative imagination, imagine that there is an outside entity that you get to blame it all on. So screw everything you've ever learned about personal responsibility and the law of attraction. Just fuck it. I had to get that word in somewhere.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So I'll get the explicit lyrics, next to our podcast. Screw it. This is like, go for it. The biggest victim wins. Be the victim. Blame it on that outside force. And then call on your warrior energy. Like, be the X-Man. Be the superhero. And destroy it. That's step number 3. Annihilate the money monster by any means necessary. Leave no bloody bits. Use a lightsaber. Use a flamethrower. Use a fiery pit or a volcano or a shark or a bunch of sharks. I had a client who ran over her monster with a monster truck. How awesome is that? Until it's all gone. All gone. It's like totally binary. It is or it isn't. And then we go on to the happy half. And that's where step number 4 is you meet your money honey. Like 11 years ago, I was saying, create your money honey, and I don't. It's like your money honey is his or her own ready-made person. I love it when a client says, well, he's not my type, but I like him. And then step number 5 is you have a conversation with your money honey. The question that I suggest is, what do you need from me so you can stay with me? Which is nothing like the question, what do you need from me so you can love me? That is not the question you have your money honey's love. The number 1 rule of your money honey is your money honey loves you more than anybody else in the world. This is your relationship. And if that's not happening, go back and do some more monster slaying. And the place to start is, what is the monster that tells you that you don't deserve to have your own money honey? Believe me, you're not the first one to come up with that problem. I've seen it all. And if I haven't, I will. So step number 5 is have that conversation with your money honey. And step number 6 is action. Take concrete, measurable action, like by Friday.
Right.
And here's why. Not a single thing I teach is out of a vacuum. And there's nothing I love less than people who see me and then write to me to tell me how I can do my thing better after I've tested it on thousands of people. So your money honey is going to say things in step number 5, very kind of grand, vague, Yoda-like stuff like, I want you to love yourself. I want you to trust me. I want you to relax. Like, these are all really big ones that come up all the time. Great. Aspire to that. And I've never met a human being who can love herself 24/7 all the time, or be relaxed all the time, or even trust her money honey or his money honey or life or God or whatever all the time. That's not the game. That is a direction. That's very good advice, very useful, but you will fail.
Yeah.
That sucks. So step number 6 is something you can have a win. And it's really, really, really important to get into your body. When you want your physical reality to change, taking physical action is magical. it lets you know that something has changed. So it's like, what action can you take to let your money honey, and more importantly, yourself know that this relationship has changed? So for me, I made a commitment. I had no idea that there were steps involved. I had no idea what was happening when I went through the process. And then I had to reverse engineer it over a long time with a bunch of people to finally get this specific as I can be with you right now.
Right.
And I'm sharing everything I can cram in at the moment, expecting you to retain maybe 10%. Yes. And I'll let you know where to get repeats and all that. And this is on iTunes, and we all know that iTunes is forever.
Yes.
So like my thing was, I made an agreement that next time he sent me a gift, which typically looked like a prospective client, I would say thank you. Instead of going, ooh, wrong, ugly sweater, which was kind of the energy that I had before, was like, thank you. And my way of saying thank you was stating my fee and shutting up and not treating him like a monster. So we don't know what the answer will be. That's always a fun thing to discover. But when your money honey and you have come up with the action, take it. And because there is something that is catalyzed through physical action. So for example, my client, Katie from Canada, I did a live demo with her like a gazillion years ago, I think like 2006 or something. Didn't know her at the time. And she's gone on to become a very successful coach of Renaissance people. But at the time, she was broke and scared. And she and her money honey, I took her through the process. We brought in stuff from, genocide, family history, just really scary, dark stuff. And then ended up with this awesome money honey. And she made an agreement to go skating. It was the dead of December in, I think, Toronto, cold. And they agreed that she would go skating. And then she didn't. And nothing happened. And another day goes by. Didn't. Nothing happens. But on the third day, she goes out skating with her son. They have a beautiful connection. They have a lot of fun. And she comes home and gets a phone call and receives $10,000 without asking for it. And that's just the beginning. And I have a lot of stories like this. So, the first thing is actually do it and see what happens. To have no expectation. Again, I couldn't predict that was going to happen. I just see it happen a lot. So I keep teaching.
So beautiful. So beautiful. And I love how actionable this is. It's to really just find out the root cause, number one. Two, imagine there's someone that you can blame and then blame it all on them, right?
The money monster, yeah. This imaginary superhuman money monster, the bigger and badder, the better, because the money honey will always be bigger and better.
Yep. And then 3 is destroy and annihilate that money monster.
Yes.
4 is, you said it's not like creating your money honey. You said that's not the language.
See, this is what happens with oh my God, does he look like Denzel or does he look like Hugh Jackman? And I'm just and then you're controlling it. Let the person walk in. So invite in your money honey. Yeah. Let him or her just
walk in.
Walk in and be who he or she wants to be. And also, by the way, I more often will say, the money honey as a he, because I figure roughly 80% of the people watching are women.
Yeah.
But it works for men, works for gay, transgender. I mean, just pick the gender that floats your boat.
Okay. And then 5 is have a conversation with your money honey. To ask what he or she needs. And then 6 is...
to stay with you, because you're the gatekeeper.
Right. To stay. Okay. And then the 6 is the action, and that's to have a win, to create wins as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And don't put your money honey under the interrogation lamp, because you will not get any answers that way. So what I recommend is just pop out ideas as they come to you and see your money honey's reaction.
Beautiful. Amazing. Morgana, this is so beautiful. Your energy is phenomenal, and thank you for what you do. How do people who are loving this stay connected with you, what do we want them to do next?
Oh, so easy. So go to morganarae.com. MorganaRae.com. You can start with my 4-part Money Magnetic video series. You get 1 video a day for 4 days.
Woohoo!
Short, easy videos. I also have a self-assessment to see where you are on your relationship with money journey at doesmoneyloveyou.com. Hundreds of articles and videos, and my own podcast, Morgana Radio. Get the fun? But just, it's all at morganarae.com. Just sign up for the videos or my VIP list, and we will be in relationship for as long as you want to be.
Awesome. So amazing. You're incredible. And everyone, I highly recommend you stay connected and take the next step with this woman because she is a powerhouse. One to watch and definitely one to be connected with. And you're going to be coming to my girlfriend and I's house party as soon as we get our new house after slaying our own money monsters.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Awesome, Morgana. Have the best day ever. Thanks so much.
Bye.